today we'll talk about gradient descent. We'll talk about a specific class of problem, that is classification, and we'll talk about machine learning life cycle as well. Because many of you are really new in the machine learning, so there are many terminology where you are confused. So we'll talk about those terminology and the entire life cycle, how exactly machine learning flow is there. We'll talk about these three things today majorly. So let's start with our first, like what we have seen in the previous lecture, right? So we have seen the goal, what we have set, the optimization problem, that we have a W and we want to find best W. You can say find a best W. And in this case, let me give you a clear idea. When we say W, it means we are talking about all the W's, where it can be W0, W1, W2, and so on. So for example, you have two features in your data set, or you can say in your training set. So then you have three W's. If you have two features, then you have 2 plus 1 W. Why it will be 2 plus 1? Because one feature, one W, you can say W0 is for the bias. Bias means if you look into the y equal to mx plus c, so c actually implicate here as a W, right? So we have one W0, and if you have two features, then it will be W1, W2. If you have three features, it will be W1, W2, W3, and so on. If you have n features, you have W1, W2, W3, Wn. Getting? So now we want to find the best W, and what we are looking for, we have to minimize JW, that is known as loss function, and that was 1 upon 2 summation of I equal to 1 to m h of xi, where h of xi is our hypothesis, what we want to make, and y is our original output. So this is known as a squared loss, right? Right. So this is our loss function that we want to minimize. And how it will be minimized? It will be minimized to find out the best W. Now you can say, where is the W in this loss function? So W is coming in this hypothesis because h of x was W0 x0 plus W1 x1 plus W2 x2 and so on, right? So we have to minimize this loss function. So you can say Wm xm, right? Where m is number of features. Is it clear till now? M is number of features we are talking about, right? So now, in order to find that base W, we have utilized algorithm, that learning algorithm, that is gradient descent. So what was the gradient descent? It was W of j equal to W of j minus alpha, where alpha is the learning rate, partial derivative of loss function with respect to Wj. So when you say you want to update Wj, you will take partial derivative of this loss with respect to Wj. When you want to like W0, you want to update W0. So then W0 equal to W0 minus alpha of partial derivative of loss with respect to W0. If you want to update W1, then what you will do? W1 equal to W1 minus alpha partial derivative. Yes, that's true. So partial derivatives of loss function, that is JW, with respect to W1 and so on. So this we have seen. So now one immediately question came in our mind, from where we'll get this value, because that we are going to update. So let's talk about from where we'll get this value, right? This partial derivative of JW with respect to loss with respect to W of J. Now here Okay, so one person is asking, it should be 1 by 2, it should be 1 by 1 m instead of 1 by 2. So actually this terminology is like not fixed. In different research paper you will find different value. So someone say average loss, then this will be 1 by m. If someone say no, like it's just loss function, squared loss, so traditional squared loss is 1 by 2. But if you say average loss, average square loss, then it will be 1 by m. Okay, so now let's see how, from where. So our you can say our motive is to find out some, we want to find out del wj for loss function. So now before jumping into this, let's do some quick revision of your derivatives or differentiation. So just give me quick answer. If you have a function 3x minus 2 square and you want to find out dy upon dx, what will be the answer? Anyone can you speak out as well?
2 into 3x minus 2 into 3.
So yes, definitely. So here first we will do the derivative of 3x minus 2 square. Thank you. So it will become 2 into 3x minus 2. Then we will do the derivative of 3x minus 2. So it will become 3. Getting? Now suppose we have a loss function, or we have a function that is 3x1 plus 2x2 square. Now we want to find dy upon dx1, or you can say it's instead of saying dy upon dx1 because it's a complete derivative, let me take exact partial derivative of dy upon partial derivative of x1. Then what will be the answer? And partial derivative of dy with respect to x2. What do you think? You can speak out, no problem. So in case of partial derivative of y with respect to x1, so again, first we'll solve the square, then we'll look into the internal part. So first we look into the square. So it will become 2 into 3x1 plus 2x2. Now it is with respect to x1, so only this term will give 3, but this will become 0. So it will become into 3. Similarly, if you solve with respect to x2, so it will become 3x1 plus 2x2. Now again, if you look into this, so this will become 0, this will give 2, so it will become 2. Any doubt on this till now? How we'll take the partial derivative or how we'll take the derivatives? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now let's look into this and apply in our problem itself. So we have a JW that is 1 by 2 h of W x minus y square. Okay. Someone is asking like what is W and what is Wj? So if you look into the complete W, it is like W0, W1, W2, and so on. Wj means when j equal to 1, so Wj means W1. When j equal to 2, Wj means W2 we are talking about. Means at a time we are talking about only one W. Okay. So now we want to solve this particular problem. So what we want, we have to calculate del of JW with respect to del of W1. Let's say we want to talk about W1 first, right? So then what will be the answer here? Or you can say how we'll solve it. So the very first thing what we'll do, we'll take derivative of this. So it will be 2 into 1 by 2 h of Wx minus y. Then you will take derivative of Wj h of Wx minus y. Is it clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now we want to perform the derivatives here. Thank you. So this will be cancelled out. So here we have h of wx minus y into del of partial derivative. Now let me expand this. If you remember the formula of h of wx, it was w0 x0 plus w1 x1 and so on. Let me say wj xj and so on minus y. Now if you take partial derivative of this term with respect to wj, what will get? We'll get xj, right? Rest all will become 0. So then the formula will become h of wx minus y, and from here you'll get xj, right? And this will become your del of jw with respect to wj. Now if it is j equal to 0, so here it will become x0. If j equal to 1, it will become x1. If j equal to 2, it will become x2, because this will remain same, only varying this part. Getting everyone till this moment?
Sir, can you please repeat this part?
Last one.
सर एक बार स्टार्टिंग से पूरा एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ, मतलब थोड़ा जल्दी.
अभी अभी ज्वाइन किया लग रहा है.
नहीं सर, पहले से था, वो बीच में कंफ्यूजन हो गया था थोड़ा.
Okay, so what we want to take a partial derivative of this loss function, because if you look into the gradient descent formula here, you have to find out this value to update your wj. So right now we are focusing on this, from where you will find this partial derivative of jw with respect to wj, right? So in order to do that, what we have done, we take the partial derivative of this formula. So when you take partial derivative, the square, because 2 will come in the front, 2 into h of wx minus y. Then you will take partial derivative of inner term, this one. So this will remain here. If you expand the inner term, so expansion means expansion of h of wx. So if you expand it, it will become w0 x0, w1 x1 plus w2 x2 and so on, wj xj, and minus this y. So now if you take partial derivative of this term with respect to wj, so what you will get? We'll get this xj here, right? So now with this formulation, suppose you are talking about, you are going to update w0. So what you will do, you will take w0 equal to w0 minus partial derivative of w0 of this j of w. So then what formulation you will get? You will get w0, sorry, equal to w0 minus, and if you replace this term with the actual value, it will be h of wx minus y into x0. Getting everyone till this point? Any doubt on this? From where we'll get the actual formulation? So this you already have, this you already have, this you already have. So now it is just mathematics, simple multiplication and subtraction and addition, and you'll able to update the w values. Is it clear till now? Any doubt on this? Great. So now let's see. So let me write it freshly here, so that it will be very clear. The rules, you can say the learning rule will be w0, or instead of say w0, let me say wj equal to wj minus alpha h of wx minus y into x of j, right? So till this part we are talking about one value, but our actual formula of squared loss is j of w equal to summation of I equal to 0 to m h of w x I minus y of I square, right? That was our formula. And let me say 1 by 2 here. So here in this part, we have not added this particular terminology. So then either you will say you will differentiate one term at a time and then add together, or you can say you can put summation outside it. It will not impact. So in that case, your Wj will become Wj minus alpha summation of I equal to 1 to m h of w x of I minus yi into xj, right? So here this m is number of samples. So let me clear, m equal to number of training examples, and n term, so like you can say j is equal to 0 to n. So n is, your n value is number of features, or features means number of columns other than output value. So in our previous example, in the last lecture, the number of features was squares, the size of house, the rooms of house. These was 2 features over there. Is it clear till now? So we got this final formula where you will put all the values. What is I? Okay. So I is, here we are talking about I equal to 1 to m, and m is number of training example. Suppose we have 10 examples, right? So then m will become 10. So let me write it here. Suppose here you have size, rooms in case of our previous example, and here we have price. So n is n0, sorry, n equal to 1 here. This is n equal to 1. This is n equal to 2. Now if you look into the m, this will be m. So suppose you say here you have 900, number of rooms is 2, price is something 12 lakhs, some more entries, some more entries, some more entries, this will be m. So you can say, if you look into the column, then you talk about n. If you look into the row, you're talking about m. Is it clear now in your data set? Is it clear till now? At least say yes, no, something.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Great. So before jumping into, so we have gone through few things, or you can say all the pieces to complete one machine learning problem, that is linear regression. So first piece, we have seen the training set, that was the house price prediction. Based on that, we find the learning algorithm. So what is learning algorithm here? Gradient descent. That is our learning algorithm. We have created a hypothesis h of x, that was W0, W1, W2, and so on. So let us understand the entire life cycle of this machine learning algorithm, right? Life cycle means what are different terminology, what are different processes are there. So the very first thing, I equal to 1. Okay, so you are talking about, oh sorry, it should be 0. Thank you, ma'am. It should be I equal to 0, not 1. Okay, so here we want to talk about life cycle. So the very first thing, you will get some data, right? So for the data, you will perform the pre-processing of the data. So in this pre-processing, there are various steps. If it is a categorical variable, then you have to convert into the one-hot encoding or some unique value. If it is a missing value, you will fill the missing values with some rules we have seen in the lab. So that is the first part, pre-processing of the data. Then the second part is the splitting the data. When we say split the data, we are splitting in three parts: train, test, and validate. These three parts we are creating. So for example, you have total 1000 sample. Now we say, let me we want 80, 10, 10. So it means 800 rows will go for the training. Sorry, 100 rows will go for the testing, and 100 will go for the validation. Right? I'll come again in this training, testing, validation very quickly. So let me first complete the entire life cycle. Then we have data. Now we'll see the data and we'll find out what problem actually we are solving. It is a regression problem or it is a classification problem, right? That we have to find out. So whenever you want to predict a real number, for example, house price, or you can say stock market price, then you say it is a regression problem, right? So then you have to decide the problem type. So it is either regression problem or it's a classification problem. So when we discuss more, we'll add more, but the life cycle will remain same. So once you decided the regression and classification, based on that, we will talk about loss function. Then we'll decide the loss function. So we'll see in a minute, like in the upcoming slides, that what is the different loss function for classification and what is the loss function for regression. We already seen in the previous slide itself, the squared loss. We'll see the loss function of classification, which is different from the regression loss, and we'll discuss why we require a different loss function. Then once we decide the loss function, we need to create a hypothesis. In order to create the hypothesis, you have to use a learning method. So you can say you decide the hypothesis, right? Or you can say model structure, right? Now, once you decided the hypothesis, then you jump into the learning algorithm. What learning algorithm you have to use? So till now we have seen only one learning algorithm, that is gradient descent. So let me write. We are using the gradient descent. What gradient descent will do? It will help us to learn to update our hypothesis and make it fruitful, right? Then what this gradient descent will do, let me take another slide if I have. Okay. So we'll take some space here. So then what we'll do, we will, based with the help of gradient descent, we'll start our training. Right. In the training, what we want, we will update our weights. You already know this formula, so you can take it from there as well. Right. Now, once the training will be over, like first phase of training will be over, then you will test your hypothesis H of Wx with the training set, testing set. So there are some confusion in the literature. Someone say you test with the testing set, someone say you test with the validation set, right? So in both the cases, like you have to test with one of them, not both of them. You have to use one of them. Either you will use just test set or you can use validation set. So don't confuse if someone say validation set or don't anyone say test set. Actually, both are like you have to utilize one of them, not both of them. So you utilizing, for example, you are utilizing testing set to test the hypothesis, and then what you will do, you will check you got good result or not, or you can say got satisfied result or not. If yes, then you stop and your hypothesis is ready, h of wx, and no, then again you will do the further training. So this is the entire life cycle of your machine learning algorithm. You can say any machine learning algorithm will be fit here, right? So this is very, very broader term for the life cycle. So you have the data first, and based on that data, you will pre-process the data, split it into 3 parts. And this life cycle, I am like focusing with supervised learning. Right? Then you split the data, decide the problem type. It is either regression or classification. Why we need to decide the type? Because we have to choose the loss function based on that decision. Now, based on that loss function, so after deciding the loss function, then you have to decide the hypothesis, which will be the most suitable hypothesis for regression problem, which will be the most suitable for classification problem. So we'll decide the hypothesis, and after deciding that, we'll use the learning method and we choose like gradient descent, and based on that we will use the training. We start the training, use some formulation, and we'll look into the after training we'll get a hypothesis, and this hypothesis test by the testing set, and if you got satisfied result, then training is over. If you feel no, still the results are not satisfied, then we'll come back and start retraining. Now one person is like, is really it is valid for supervised learning only? Not always supervised. Why I chose supervised? Because here we have used this term, this term, this term, and this term. These mainly belong to the supervised learning. Definitely, if you look into the broader term, then it will be like valid for all variety of learning. What is gradient descent? Okay, have you joined recently? Okay, anyways, the gradient descent is a type of learning algorithm that will help you to update the W values, WJ, W0, W1, W2, W3, and so on. That is the gradient descent algorithm. Any doubt till this moment? Anyone? Great. Thank you. Any doubt, guys?
No,
Is it clear? The life cycle? Great.
yes.
So now let us understand a different variety of problem, class of problem, that is classification problem. So here, let's talk about binary classification problem. Right? So the binary classification problem is somehow look like this. So here you have y value, this is your x value. So here we have some terms like this. Something like that. So you can say this is 1, this is 0, right? So the classification we have to find out either, so the answer will be either 0 or 1. So you can say this is your point where it is changing our answers, or you can say this is the boundary point for us, the classification boundary. So if something is below this, then its output is 0. If something is more than this, then output is 1. Getting everyone? Now you can say you can make a linear regression here. Suppose we have fit a line over there. Suppose I want to fit a line here. So I have fitted a line, and then say This is our boundary. Let me say like it's 0.5. If something more than 0.5, then it will become 1. If something less than 0.5, it will become 0, right? So in that say, you will decide the threshold point. If you draw a line over there. So in case of this line, if the value of y is more than 0.5, we are talking about with respect to this line, if the value of y equal to more than, or let me say equal to 0.5, then we are talking about y equal to 1. If y is less than 0.5, then we say y equal to 0. Quite easy. We can apply a linear regression model here as well. So if your output is more than 0.5, it will become 1. If output is less than 0.5, it will become 0. Right? So till this, it looks like yes, why not we can apply a linear regression here. So let me give you one more example, then it will be more clear why we cannot apply linear regression for classification. So let me say this is x, we have some values here, then we have few values here, and one value somewhere here. Now what our learning algorithm will do? So previously we have drawn this line. Now because of this one value, what will happen? Your line will go something like this, because it will try to take care of this line, this point as well. And then previously we have decided our thresholding was 0.5, and let me restrict with this 0.5. So then the thresholding will reach somewhere here. Now again you will, sorry. So now we have seen, so again you will come here and your boundary point will reach in this moment, in this place. So you'll say what is more than this will become y equal to 1, which is less than this will become y equal to 0. But actually it is not true. That we don't want. We want our boundary here, so that whatever more than this will become y equal to 1, and whatever less than this will become y equal to 0. It means if you try to fit a linear line in our classification problem, we will fail. Is it clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now we will, so here we can say if we are not, okay, sure, I will. So here we are saying, so we have few points in this moment, in this particular graph, we fitted a line and we decided thresholding 0.5. So that is quite okay in this moment, that whatever is more than this point, so this will become your boundary, whatever more than this point, y equal to 1 here, whatever less than this point, y equal to 0 here. But suppose in our classification, it is very much possible there are some points somewhere here. So in order to take care of those points, your linear regression will draw this line. Let me make it complete. It will draw this line. And once it draws this line, your thresholding is still 0.5. So you will say whatever more than 0.5, it will become 1. Whatever less than 0.5, in this case, it will become 0. But what about these points? So you will say these points will also become y equal to 0. But that is not true. In our case, it is not true. So that's why it will create problem. So in summary, it is saying you cannot utilize the linear regression for classification problem. If you try to do it, definitely, or you can say 99% you will going to fail. Maybe for one case where data is very nice, then you can get a good answer. Yes.
But in the second case, why don't we pick 0.3, sir? Means if you pick the 0.3, then it will work, no, sir?
So then you have
Why
to
is
work
it
on
possible?
thresholding. From where you will get this threshold? Every time, normally threshold is 0.5 because that is quite standard. So then you have to find out this threshold itself. You have to work on the algorithm, another algorithm that will look for the threshold. What is the best threshold for this line? Getting? So then
Yes,
it will
sir.
become a problem. Like instead of learning weights, you are learning threshold as well. So that is a challenging over there. So that's why threshold is fixed, is 0.5, and based on that you will decide where you have to move.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we'll formalize it. So it is quite clear we cannot use linear regression. So then we have a different variety of regression that is known as logistic regression, or this is also known as a classification, binary classification, or you can say simply classification. So in that case, definitely if you use hypothesis of linear regression that we have seen to draw a line, then it will be fail. So then we required a different hypothesis. So we have to modify our h of wx that need a new hypothesis. So before jumping into this, let's look into one function that is known as sigmoid function. So suppose you have g of, let me say, z in this sigmoid. So the formulation of sigmoid is 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus z. This is your sigmoid function. Clear? Now, what is the beauty behind this sigmoid function? If you draw this sigmoid function, right, then it will be like this. And let me draw, this is your 1, this is your 0, and this is 0.5. This is your sigmoid function, where you can say this is your z and this is your g of z. So what will happen if it is more than 0.5? Definitely it will be your 1 value. If it is less than 0.5, definitely it will be 0 value. Right? Now it will take care from minus infinite to plus infinite. Means when you look into the plus infinite value, then it will become 1. If you look into the minus infinite value, z equal to minus infinite, it will become 0. So then we utilizing this new hypothesis to solve our problem. So then what will become our hypothesis? It will become h of w equal to g of w transpose x. So I introduce new term w transpose x. I will come in a minute of that. 1 upon 1 minus e to the power, sorry, 1 plus e to the power minus w transpose x. Now let me say what is this w transpose x. So here w equal to w0, w1, w2, and x equal to x0, x1, x2. And if you remember, z equal to 0, then it will not be 1, it will be 0.5, man. Okay. So Vasu is saying like z equal to 0, then zz will be 1, should be 1. So if you apply here mz equal to 0, it will become 1 plus 1, it will be 0.5, 1 by 2. So here we are talking about w transpose x. So what is w here? W0, w1, w2, and so on. It will be up to wn. And what is this? Xn. Now, if it is written in a vector form, then what you want in our previous case, if you remember, then it was w0 x1 plus, sorry, x0 w1 x1 plus w2 x2 and so on. So if you want this, what you need to do, you have to take transpose of w and multiply with the x. So then you can come up with w transpose x. Is it clear? So that's why we have written w transpose x, where w is a vector, that is w0, w1, w2, wn. X is a vector, x0, x1, x2 till xn. So in a shorter form or in a vectorized form, you can say w transpose x. Is it clear? Okay, so we change our hypothesis. Why we change our hypothesis? Because now the output will be always between 0 and 1. The output will not go out of 0 and 1. Why we want this? Because our hypothesis is saying the value of hypothesis should belong to between 0 and 1. It should not go outside it. So then we have applied additional function, you can say sigmoid function, and then this sigmoid, you can say it will forcefully make your value of this linear function into between 0 and 1. Getting? So in short, we can say what we have done. We have a linear model that was W transpose X, and we apply a sigmoid here, that is G of Z, then this will be our Y. Or instead of say Y, we cannot say Y because Y is the original output. We can say it is H of Wx for us. So if you look into till this part, this is a linear regression. Once you add this sigmoid here, it will automatically convert into the logistic regression. Why it is logistic regression now? Because your values are skews between 0 and 1. So now you put a simple threshold 0.5. If your value is more than 0.5 or equal to 0.5, then you can say our value is 1. If it is less than 0.5, you can easily say our value is 0. And this function will forcefully make all the value from minus infinite to plus infinite between 0 and 1. Is it clear till now? Any doubt on that? So ultimately this sigmoid function is kind of skewing function, which skews the value between 0 and 1. Or you can say scaling function. It is scaling minus infinite to plus infinite value between 0 and 1. Why we want to scale? Because our output should be between 0 and 1. Is it clear now? Any doubt on this? Anyone? Anyone? Any doubt on this?
Sir, the loss function also changes for
Yes,
the
definitely.
model.
Just give me a minute. I'm talking about loss as well.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, loss, definitely loss function is going to change. So now, so here we introduce a new term, that is likelihood. So before jumping into that, let me formalize this in a probability function. So simple, it's like not a huge maths here. I'll just simply formalize it. So you can say why we are saying probability value, because the output of our sigmoid function between 0 and 1, and probability will also 0 and 1. So you can easily look into this, into the probability side or probability aspects, or you can say you have a different goggles, that is a probability goggle, was actually looking the same thing. So you can say probability of Y equal to 1 where given X and utilize the W. That is your H of Wx. Right. So we are saying H of Wx is the when Y equal to 1. So it will give the probability of Y equal to 1 given X with the help of W value or utilizing the W value, and probability of Y equal to 0 with the given X utilizing W value. Then this will be 1 minus H of Wx. Right. So if you look into, we have only two options. Either the value will be 0 or the value will be 1. So suppose the probability of this is 0.3. So then what will be the probability of this? 1 minus 0.3. So it will become 0.7. So in that way, you formalize the things in the probability way. We are saying the probability of Y equal to 1 given X, or you can say conditional on X given W, then it will be H of Wx. Again, we'll say probability of Y equal to 0 conditional on X given W, then it is a Y equal to, the value will be 1 minus H of Wx. Why we can write this? Because if one value is, for example, 0.3 here, then another will automatically become 1 minus 0.3. It will be 0.7 because sum should be 1. Getting everyone? So in that case, y will be between 0 and 1. Not between, it's y equal to either 0 or 1. So I have we have introduced two things. We said h of wx, so two things, belongs to 0, 1. It means it is talking about the range 0 to 1. Anything can be there, right? And here we are seeing either 0 or 1. Means it not be like 0.5, 0.7, 0.3, nothing. Either it will be 0, y, or it will be 1. Getting everyone? Yeah, I'll come on that is first when we have multiple labels. Definitely, I will look into that in the next lecture. Whenever we have not only two labels, that is 0 or 1, we have more labels. So how we'll solve this problem, we'll come into that. So slowly we are moving towards that side, right? So we have looked into this probability concept. Now, if you look into the probability or you will look into the likelihood, both are same. Just the way of thinking is different. You can say the coin is remain same. One person is looking from one side, another person is looking from different side. But ultimately, coin will remain same. So the likelihood that will represent by L of W, that will be P of Y given X W. Now, likelihood saying we are, you can say, it is likelihood always with respect to W. So when you say likelihood, we are talking about W with respect to W. And whenever we are seeing probability, we are looking from this part. But ultimately formulation will remain same. When we say probability of output, we can say, and likelihood of weights, right? That is just you can say conversation is different, but this formulation is remain same. So when we say likelihood, means our entire focus towards the weight. What should be the weight value so that the likelihood of this will be maximized. But when we say probability, we are saying the given W is already given. Now what is the probability of Y unconditional on X? Is it clear? Two things. Probability and likelihood. So likelihood is focusing on W, right? What is the likelihood of the Y when we are focusing on W? Means we have to look into the W side. The entire focus on W. Now, if you look into the probability, it is focusing on Y given X. So what is the probability of Y when W is given? So you can say likelihood of W, weights, and probability of output. That is the two things here. Getting? So now, so we have given this. Now, this is for one value. This is for one sample. Now we want to talk about a bigger sample. So in that case, you can say L of W equal to pi I equal to 1, sorry, I equal to 0 to M P of Yi Xi given W, right? So in short, you can write this formulation in terms of H of Wx. What will be that value? That will be pi I equal to 0 to M H of W X of I power of Yi minus 1 minus H of W Xi power of 1 minus Yi. Right? Now, this is your likelihood. What we want to with this likelihood? We want to maximize it. Why we are saying pi here? Pi means multiplication factor. We want to multiply each probability and we want to maximize it. That is the entire focus of this classification problem. We have to maximize the probability. Now, in order to simplify it, because here we have a lot of powers over there. So in order to simplify, we take log of this, log of this likelihood. So once you take the log, then what will happen? You will take log of pi I equal to 0 to m h of w x of I power of yi minus 1 minus h of w x of I power of 1 minus yi. So if you take log of this entire term, what you will get? Automatically, if you take log, it will, the multiplication will convert into the summation. And you can say I equal to 0 to m. And here you say y to the power I log of h of w x of I minus 1 minus y to the power I log of 1 minus h of w x to the power I. So this will become log of likelihood. This will become our loss function. Loss function for classification problem. Getting? Now you can say, why this loss function? Actually, this loss function is like a switch, what we want in our classification. Why it is switch? What is y value here? If you look into the y value, it will be either 0 or 1. So when y is 1, then only this term will be focused, because this will become 0. When y equal to 0 only, so you can say y equal to 1, then this will be our entire focus, the entire algorithm focus in this side. And whenever y equal to 0, the entire focus on this side. So in this way, if correct value is 1, the entire focus of your learning algorithm in the one term, in this term. And whenever y equal to 0, the entire focus of learning algorithm in this side, right? So just one last minute. So in order to solve this, what we use a different variety of algorithm, that is gradient descent. So in gradient descent, we are doing this, but in the gradient descent, we have this. So we have to reach in this point. Why we want gradient descent here? Because we want to maximize the likelihood. The value will be maximum. I want to maximize this likelihood. Our target is to maximize this likelihood. So in that case, what we want, we use gradient ascent, right? So when you formulate it, you will get the update value wj equal to wj plus alpha of del w, and this is, so let me represent this entire value as a L of w, the loss likelihood. So L of w here. So when you formulate it, so when you do some mathematics over there, so again, if you want more mathematics, we'll take an additional session to look into the mathematics, how you will derive it, right? When you derive, so once you do the derivation as we have done for the squared loss, you can do derivation for this as well. So you will come up with this value. W is wj plus alpha summation of I equal to 0 to m y of I minus h of w xi x of j I, right? So this is your derivative function. Now if you look into this, you can find out it is very similar to the previous gradient descent, right? This is the only change. Here we have plus, in this moment here we have plus. So if you take this minus out, then it will become h of wxi minus yi, and here you will get y. Means this formulation will remain same. Either you are solving the linear regression or you are solving the logistic regression or classification problem, this will remain same. What is different? H of wxi is different because now you are using sigmoid function. 1 upon 1 plus e to the power w transpose x, right? That we are using and the loss function. This loss function is different. Getting everyone? So that's it for today's session, and we'll talk about this in the next session as well, some more details. And in the next session, we'll talk about one more different learning algorithm other than gradient descent. So if you have any doubt, you can post me out in the WhatsApp group, or you can say in the Slack group. I'll be available. So thank you guys. I think next lecture is waiting for you. Thank you everyone. We'll catch you on the next lecture.